Sekeres and Price, a special post-game edition. Round 2, Game 3. Vancouver 4, Edmonton 3. The Canucks take a 2-1 series advantage in this best-of-7 Western Conference playoff matchup. Matt Sekeres alongside Blake Price, Grady Sass. Hitting switches, conducting things. Big show coming up. Blake, it's all brought to you by Applewood Auto Group.
Applewood Infinity in the Richmond Auto Mall has fabulous deals right now on a great vehicle that really does it all with luxury part of the equation here. The 2024 QX60s. Lease them at 0.99%. Yeah, that's the right number. 0.99% for 24 months. That's on all trims. Go check it out. Take one for a test drive. Applewood Infinity in Richmond. It's all good at Applewood.
Well, the Canucks get vengeance over the Oilers for winning in their building on a Friday night. They guarantee themselves at least a split in Edmonton's building. And right, Arturs Silovs and his posts, Blake Price, 42 saves for the young Latvian rookie. And his goalposts made several. He pulled a couple off the line. It was kind of hang on by your fingernails, but hang on they did to get a victory. Your thoughts on Game 3, buddy?
Well, by all accounts, Rick Tocchet didn't love the way they played the second half of that game. I didn't like the way they played the second half of that game. We saw the Edmonton Oilers try to play that second half in game number 1, and it didn't work out for them. And I thought that they were maybe flirting with disaster and trying to do the same. Now, they defended much better than the Edmonton Oilers did. The high danger chances at 1-1 in the third period is evidence of that. Nevertheless, you just never know when one of those is going to rear its ugly head. And I thought they got away with it, and Arturs Silovs made sure they got away with it. And what a victory, and what a performance.
You're talking about sitting on leads, and I said, I tweeted after 40 minutes, look, stay offensive here. You can't afford to sit on this lead. That's a lot of time left for a team with so many good offensive weapons. The shots in the third period are 22-3 for the Edmonton Oilers. They were 15-2 on Friday, Blake. So if you're scoring at home, Oilers have outshot the Canucks 37-5 in the last two third periods, and yet the Canucks have a split in those games, thanks to Silovs, thanks to some great defensive play. And thanks to their penalty killing unit, which steps up big a couple of occasions in the third period when the Oilers have power plays, and you're wondering, okay, is here where the comeback is forged. Not to mention after JT Miller hits a post on the empty net. Of course, we had seen that in reverse with Colton Sissons doing so against Nashville, his team losing the game. Let's get to what happened at the end of the game behind the goal. Blake, with Connor McDavid, Carson Soucy, and Nikita Zadorov, do you think anything is going to be looked at there from the Department of Player Safety?
Well, you have to see it in its totality. I see one clip that's going around virally that completely omits the Connor McDavid slash of Carson Soucy. Carson Soucy doesn't do that apropos of nothing. He gets slashed by Connor McDavid. So make sure you see the clip in all of its glory. What I would be worried about from the Canucks standpoint is that because Zadorov comes in late and gives him a little bit of a cross check in the lower back, McDavid's going down. Soucy thinks he's about to cross check him in the chest, but because Zadorov does what he does, McDavid's crumpling, and Soucy does get him up high with the cross check. Now, I don't know who it is. I haven't been able to roll it back. There's a late Oiler to the party who then cross-checks Zadorov in the face. It's a complete mess. So I wonder if the NHL will just say, hey, that's the playoffs. Nobody got injured. Let's just pretend it didn't happen. Or are they going to say it's Connor McDavid? We're going to punish Carson Soucy and take him out of the game. I take him out of the next game. I don't know how they're going to call it because it's impossible to predict.
And the clip we're playing there is courtesy of Sportsnet. I don't see this as a suspendable offense. And as you say, Connor McDavid is the player who starts all this. Okay, the decision by Edmonton, and look, we don't know if Pickard was good or bad because the Canucks put so little rubber on him. But what did you make of the decision to pull Stuart Skinner after 40 minutes?
I'm not sure that I understand it from the Edmonton side. It's a 2-goal game, And I know you don't love the Skinner goaltending at this point, but that's Calvin Pickard. Like, he is the emphatic backup for the Edmonton Oilers. Um, I don't get it, but it's certainly a good sign of panic. If you're a Vancouver Canucks fan, you love that they felt like they needed to do that, because it means the confidence in Stuart Skinner is low right now. And the fact that they went to, a guy with demonstrably worse numbers and, no reputation to speak of. This year was the first season in his NHL career, I believe, that going way back. 2017 was the last time Calvin Pickard had a save percentage over 900. He was over 900 this year. That was the first time in 7 years. The fact that you went to that guy in a game is completely winnable. They're down 2 goals with that.
No, that's what surprised me. Like, if the Canucks had 5 or 6 goals on the board, if it was a 3 or 4 goal margin, but you're so right, a 2-goal margin. Yeah. Like, I thought Skinner was shook at the end of the second period when the Canucks scored on him in game 2. And of course, yet again, did not put a lot of rubber on him in the third period, didn't really test him. So no, the goaltending advantage with a third string goalie versus a couple of the best players in the world is now handily with the Vancouver Canucks and Arturs Silovs. And this is just an astounding story that continues to get better for the young man. 7th Canucks goalie to have 40 plus saves in a playoff game. And he was a little more scrambly tonight, partner. I think it was fair to say I preferred the calm that we saw a couple of nights ago. He looked a little bit more like his game 1 form, where he wasn't quite as on the puck and wasn't quite as tracking it and corralling it as comfortably as he was in game 2, but it was good enough for the victory.
Yeah, I thought that it was a happy medium. I thought it was sort of in between the two. Some of those long distance shots, and that's why the high danger number is so low. A lot of these shots were from distance, and he had to look through bodies to get them, which is still a skill. But I thought he looked pretty good on that. The scrambles in front, Matt, they're scrambles in front. Like, they're never going to be too calming, So I think, he didn't look great. Look at there, folks. The high danger chances for the game, 7-6 there, according to natural stat trick for the Oilers. Scoring chances as a general rule, that's a little more emphatic in the Oilers' favor, 23-14, and they do win the expected goals at even strength. But here's the thing, Matt. They kept pace on the power play. And so special teams remain a huge story here. They both got 2 goals on the power play. I don't know that the Canucks power play looks as dangerous as the Oilers one does. The Oilers one always looks like it's about to score. But ultimately, the bottom line is the bottom line. They both got 2, and that's the story ultimately, along with the goaltending. The 2 power play goals and goaltending is what won it here for the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, if power play goals are going to be a saw-off advantage, Vancouver Canucks. Edmonton has power play goals in all 3 games. And really until the third period here, Blake, where of course you get some game management, score management that goes on. The Canucks do a very good job, I felt, as well, of staying out of the penalty box. So a lot to like there on the special team side. On the discipline side, I thought, for the most part, Nikita Zadorov gets the roughing penalty for depositing Evander Kane, Vancouver's Evander Kane, playing against his hometown team, into his own player box, and I'm sure burrowing further into the hearts of Canuck Nation. He has been an extraordinary performer for the Canucks in this postseason. The holding call for Filip Hronek earlier in the game against Corey Perry, the trip of Boeser on Draisaitl, and then 3 penalties in the third period. Susie does pick up a cross-checking penalty against McDavid at the 20-minute mark. Like, as for Silovs, a couple of pucks get pulled off the line here, one by Quinn Hughes, one by Silovs himself. That's the proper call. If you cannot identify the puck fully crossing the line, then especially when it's ruled no goal on the ice, that is the proper call that the NHL got to. I want to laud them for that, because we certainly had our say about officiating after Friday's game. I don't know. You tell me the rule, buddy. I saw some grumbling about this on the Edmonton side, but Arturs Silovs grabs the stick of Derek Ryan in that first scramble, which doesn't allow Ryan to take a second crack at trying to chip it in the goal when he's down and out. Silovs, that is. And when you've got a bunch of Canucks riding to the rescue, can you call a goaltender for a holding the stick penalty in a crease play? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not. Well, I'm not sure what the rule is there, but nevertheless, it stays out of the Vancouver Canucks goal. Some really nervous moments, some posts as well, as we have talked about. But add it all up, it's a 4-3 Canucks win. And what I love about it from a Vancouver perspective, Blake, is once again playing on the front foot here. Once again, creating more belief on their side of the ledger, more doubt on the Edmonton side of the ledger. I was a big believer going into this series. Canucks absolutely needed to get game one and could not afford to trail in this series. That the recipe for winning the series was playing off the front foot, making sure you're ahead of them, or at worst, even Steven, and making sure your belief is high and their doubt is increasing. And I think all of that comes to pass now in advance of Tuesday's game 4.
Hey, I think it's very possible, almost plausible, that that the Edmonton Oilers win game number 4. They have every possibility of coming out just super angry and focused, and an angry 97 and 29 can do a lot of damage. And I think we saw that in game number 2 back in Vancouver. But it's certainly not a bad sign that there seems to be a lot of finger pointing and blaming and chirping, and now this goaltending issue for the Edmonton Oilers. That's not bad for the Vancouver Canucks. And I don't think
I
don't think they have any shame about how they won this game tonight. I don't think they have any shame about it.
We should expand on chirping, because Leon Draisaitl in the post game said, what? The post is not good goaltending?
That's right. Yeah.
Something
asked
along
about whether
those
or not
lines.
it was good goaltending or bad luck that they didn't score on some of those opportunities. And he said the post is not good goaltending. Which most goalies would say.
Let him disrespect Silovs. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not the biggest believer in bulletin board material, but I'm not sure how that comment gets you any further ahead. I appreciate his honesty in the moment, I guess, or call it as he sees it. It's a money quote. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure that does anything but fuel Silovs and the Vancouver Canucks. Will show him sort of thing. And also an odd comment to make, Blake, when the shots are 45-18. I mean, you put 45 shots on the guy. He stopped 42 of them, and you're going to not give him full credit for the performance and goal?
The goaltender is in charge of preventing pucks from entering the space between the posts. Mm-hmm. Anytime you're hitting the post, it means the goaltender has likely made it more difficult for you to hit the space, which is his key goal. He went on to say, quote, I think we got enough guys in here that can put the puck past him.
I don't dispute that. Yeah.
But Matt, the fact they are facing a barrage of questions about are you snake bitten by this third string 23-year-old goaltender? I mean, it's not a good look on the Oilers right now. It's not. I think guys like Draisaitl and McDavid can shake this off. But what I do wonder is the other 16 skaters that lace them up. Those two guys are special. They can find a way, most likely. Probably Hyman too. But the 15 other guys, and this was already a question going in. I don't know if you watched a lot of the preamble on the TV side. Where's the depth scoring for the Edmonton Oilers? They're getting defensive scoring, much like the Canucks are as well. The blue lines helped out a lot. But the bottom 6 forwards on the Edmonton Oilers are a no-show. And
they're a no-show in terms. Yeah, they're a no-show in terms of productivity. I thought they actually played a better game tonight than they had in the first couple of games. Like a little more noticeable from that Oilers bottom 6 secondary scoring crew, but not good enough tonight. Not particularly when Elias Lindholm scores a couple of goals. And of course, originally credited to Brock Boeser, would have been a hell of a story for him to get a hat trick on Mother's Day. As we know, Brock's family has been through a lot with the loss of his dad over the last couple of years. Well, really since he got to Vancouver all those years ago. But yeah, the Canucks tonight, and we said it after game 2, we said it going into game 2, the Canucks need somebody other Then the JT Miller line scoring. So Elias Lindholm getting a couple today. And yes, I understand they were power play goals from Elias Lindholm, but you need other contributors on the score sheet. Speaking of Blake, and I hate to bring it up, but wow, was Pettersson quiet again tonight? After a game 2 where you thought, okay, he scores, maybe he's got something to build on here. And look, understand they've made some lineup changes here. They just simply do not have the weaponry on the wing for all center icemen to have appropriate supporting casts offensively. But wow, was number 40 quiet tonight for the Canucks.
If we had him on the show right now, I think that would be his retort is, guys, I had a rookie playing his first NHL playoff game on my wing. There's only so much I can do. I thought McCabe was McCabe should have scored a goal.
Yeah,
on the rebound of that Zadorov shot. He should have scored there. He missed the net by 3
There's no shot attempts
side.
here. Yeah, but Pettersson winds up without a shot attempt. Blake,
Pettersson does. No, McCabe should, but I'm saying, that will be his excuse. But do I have him right here at 15:49 of ice time?
That is what I have too, partner. And
15:49.
That sort of jives with the eye test and what I was seeing out there, which was not a lot of number 40. Should mention McDavid goes without a point. So they finally got to a point, and of course Elias praised for his defensive work earlier in this series by head coach Rick Tocchet. So they are able to shut down the best player in the world for the first time in this series and have him walk away with zero points. But Elias without a attempt
he just edges out Dakota Joshua in ice time. He just edges out Teddy Bluger by a minute. Wow, is that a comment from Rick Tocchet there in the middle of this series? So they're lucky to, in some ways, Matt, it's good fortune in that if you are a believer that eventually this will come for Elias Pettersson, it will be like they're adding a new player to the lineup. Because right now he is completely just a neutral observer. I don't know that he's been bad. He's not necessarily, he's not been Ian Cole and been the leading scorer for the Oilers in some way, shape, and form. But he's not been good. So if he decides to declare himself to the NHL postseason, it'll be like they dropped a new player into the lineup. But that seems like light years away at this point. It really does.
Yeah, it really. And. Like, I don't know about you. I actually thought Höglander was better in game 2 than we had seen him in some other games. And I know that's not saying much, but I wasn't sure about of the spot that Tocchet picked here to sit Höglander, like given who we're sitting him for, right? Like, if you had what you thought was a viable alternative up front, I can understand it. But, Nils Zaman, Linus Karlsson, not sure these guys are.
I thought Carlson was good. I thought Carlson was good. He was second on the team in Corsi for percentage.
Was he really?
Second on the team. Like I thought he was pretty responsible. I think he's strong, so I think he fought through a bunch of the wall battles pretty well. If I'm Sam Lafferty, I'm pretty worried about what I see there because if PDG's back in the fold and Rick Tocchet wants to go back to Old Faithful and PDG, I wonder if a guy like Sam Lafferty finds his way out and Carlson stays in, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah. What was I getting to? Yes, your comments and at the final horn of every game, we shoot out a tweet asking you what stands out to you. Plenty in the comments here today. Chris says the Canucks can contain McDavid. Jet, love Big Z. But we're going to go to Corey. Vancouver's physical play. That wasn't what won it, but I'm loving seeing the Canucks not being pushed around at all and the opposition knowing it. And then he goes on to talk about Arturs Silovs. The first shift of the hockey game. Elias Lindholm plasters Mattias Ekholm, who, by the way, has goals in every game. Like, he's the most consistent scorer in this series. Mattias Ekholm, of all people. Dakota Joshua staples Mattias Ekholm. So the visitors served notice from the opening seconds and the opening shift that they were going to play a physical hockey game. And Blake, I frankly think that Zadorov's physicality is infectious a little bit here, that it is rubbing off on some of his other teammates. I'm sure he makes them stand a little taller, but I think his attitude and sort of zest for the physical play in this series that we've seen is rubbing off on some of the other Vancouver Canucks.
Matt, I don't bother keeping social media receipts, but all of you out there, oh, they're soft. You went back to that old narrative about every single Canuck team from the last 4 or 5 decades. Oh, they're a soft team. They're not dressed. Maybe because of Elias Pettersson, maybe the superstar has, people paint him with that brush. They out-hit the Oilers. This is in the Road Barn, where generally hits is one of those stats where the home side gets a little preferential treatment. In the Road Barn, they out-hit the Oilers 50-30. They almost doubled them up. Now, when you don't have the puck, you tend to have more hits, and that was probably at play to some degree here.
For sure.
But I do agree that one of the ways in which they kept them to the outside, kept the Oilers at bay, was they hit them every single time they had the opportunity.
So let me ask you, and you're absolutely right. They were back to winning a large majority of the faceoffs, 58%, and that was helpful because they dominated Edmonton in the first game in that, and then gave it all the way back in the second one. Blake, let me ask you this, and I know we've played this game a lot this postseason with some of the wacko, bizarro numbers that came out of that Nashville Predators series, but the shot attempts tonight are 33 for the Vancouver Canucks and 86 for the Edmonton Oilers. Now that's more than doubling them up. That's damn near tripling them up.
Yeah.
Can the Canucks win the series getting completely outpaced like that on the shot clock and in the shot attempts?
No, they can't, and that's why I would say that I don't think the coach is going to be terribly pleased about them. And apparently, for some media that were watching him on the bench, he was very much not pleased with the way they were playing there in the middle part of the game right till the end. And that's no way to win. But I will say this: they did prove they can hold a lead. So if you're going to score 4 goals in the opening 36 minutes or whatever it ended up being of the hockey game, it shows them that, you can hold a lead, maybe not quite so passively, but there's some good lessons and bad lessons learned within the whole context.
Only Connor Brown and Ryan McLeod failed to register a shot on goal for the 18 Edmonton Skaters tonight, and everybody on the Oilers registers a shot attempt, whereas 4 different Vancouver Canucks do not even have a shot attempt in this hockey game, Blake, and I believe 9 Vancouver Canucks do not have a shot on.
I don't know if we've shown the heat map yet.
We have shown the heat map.
We have shown the heat map. If you want to bring up the heat map again, Grady, if it's possible, just to reiterate again, the shot, the number of shots is not super critical here. That heat map had big green. Look at that green around the edge, the blue line down the wall. The one hot zone is near the faceoff circle. You want that hot zone where the yellow spot is at the crease, and it's not. So, like, Zach Hyman was not able to be in his office.
No,
that's not.
This is the quietest.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Hyman's been terrific for Edmonton. I thought tonight was his weakest game, and that's very good because he has been right in the thick of things for the Oilers.
Look at that one yellow spot, Matt, near the top of the orange drop. I go to the board, the half wall, the upper half wall. You shouldn't have a yellow dot over there. You shouldn't be firing more than a couple of shots from that half wall.
How about the green dot down on the goal line? That's Leon Draisaitl territory.
That's Draisaitl's office. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, so they do maybe generate some heat from different areas of the ice that other teams wouldn't, but of course they have a couple of players there, one in particular in 97 who can generate offense from anywhere, and then Draisaitl, who, as we talked about going into this series, is the master of that flat angle shot down by the goal.
But that dot represents one shot, so he only got one shot away from his office, which is a good thing, right? So,
well, he scored on it though.
Yeah, there's that.
He's done some scoring, and look, the Canucks are still sort of hanging on by their fingernails when 97 and Leon Draisaitl are on the ice.
It's terrifying.
It is terrifying. Honestly, Blake, and I've told you this before, like when I was a kid and the KLM line would come on the ice for the Soviets, I used to just be panicked, like when I hide under a blanket. I almost feel the same way about Draisaitl and McDavid, that every time they're on the ice, you're expecting them to score a goal. And if not score a goal, there's at least going to be a moment there where the heart skips a beat because they're so dangerous in generating chances. 2 points for JT Miller, 2 points for Quinn Hughes. Didn't want this post game to go by without mentioning those two things. Particularly Miller. Do not have the early line just yet from Bet365 on game. Let me refresh one more time. No, do not have the early line yet from Bet365 on game 4 in Edmonton. What I can tell you is that we are going to gather at Greta on 50 West Cordova for a watch party, have some drinks, give away some prizes, have some fun. Shout out to Jeff and Lawrence and some of the listeners that we met tonight at Greta, 50 West Cordova. We'll see you there on Tuesday. It's a 6:30 puck drop. We'll be there shortly. Earlier than that, we've got gamer cards to give away, good for 3 hours of free gameplay there at the arcade at Greta. All right, so no game up. We'll do our Bet365 picks, Blake, on Monday, Sekeres and Price, which we invite everybody to tune into. We are live 11:30 a.m. Pacific time on most of your social media platforms. And of course, if you're looking for the full meal deal, break it all down, coaches' comments, stat that stands out, 3 stars, you want to hop on over to Rink Wide Vancouver immediately following every game. Jeff Patterson, Irfan Ghaffar, former Canuck Shane O'Brien guested on the show today. So Jeff and Irf have your full post game on Rink Wide Vancouver. Blake and I thank you for joining us here on this post game pod, and we'll talk to you on Sekeres and Price on Monday. Hey, everybody, if you're enjoying what you're seeing here, then follow along with Sekeres and Price on YouTube. I promise more content coming.
The kids call it subscribe on YouTube.
Well, how about liking it?
Do that as well. Smash it right now.